What is a great TV show that never became popular? Happy Endings. A great little comedy that deserved better. Reaper was great, but was cancelled too early unfortunately. Generation Kill. Great show on HBO. Don't know too many people who've seen it but they all say it's great. Including me. Party Down. Such a stellar cast. Great premise. But got kneecapped when their eventual stars all got bigger gigs. Jane Lynch went on to do Glee. Adam Scott landed his gig on Parks and Rec. And the show ended after 2 seasons. Still one of my favorite comedy shows. Are we having fun yet? Almost Human. A future cop, Carl Urban, doesn't like that all detectives get assigned a robot partner. He gets stuck with a previous generation model, Michael Ealy. And together they solve crimes and eventually start to become friends. It was actually a really good show. They just should have waited 4 to 5 years to make it because sci-fi shows weren't as mainstream and popular in 2013 as they are now. I really enjoyed Warehouse 13. But I have not met anyone else who has heard of it. Better Off Ted. Bored to Death. Jason Schwartzman, Zach Galifianakis, and Ted Danson. Great chemistry and some hilarious dialogue. This scene in particular always stuck with me. U2. BE 57L6LQ8 German marks. Counterpart. Amazing sci-fi espionage series that lasted 2 seasons at Showtime a few years ago. J.K. Simmons plays a meek, gentle paper pusher at a mysterious company in Berlin who finds out that his organization is actually in charge of communicating with a twin organization in an alternate universe. He then meets his own twin who is an amoral, cynic, calculating assassin. Amazing stuff. Pushing Daisies. Got cancelled during the 2007 writers' strike. It's kinda old at this point but remains one of my favorite all-time shows in all its unfinished glory. Travelers. S1 and S3 are stellar. Raving reviews too. The shtick where a newly arrived traveler sees undestroyed Earth for the first time and just can't believe it. It's a feeling that nothing else can quite compare to. And I'm getting queasy again just writing about it. Also great characters. Just the right mix of clever but not too serious, heavy. And the whole premise is of course extremely fucking relevant. Eureka. It was a travesty that it got stuck on sci-fi, if put in the right channel and slot so people knew it existed. I sincerely think it would have been huge. HBO's Vale, a wonderful and strange Depression-era story about the forces of good and evil as a bunch of carnies make their way through the Dust Bowl. It was tragically cancelled after 2 seasons. But is an absolute must-watch. Jericho. Cool premise. Space above and beyond. Gritty sci-fi is always great. Suburgatory was great and I agree with Dead Like Me Too. Also I felt Dollhouse and Firefly didn't get enough recognition. News Radio was a critical darling. But not a big following. But goddamn that show was funny. Then there's stuff like Rubicon. Or Lights Out which me and at most 6 other people were watching. I feel like we should have some sort of support group. But how would we find each other? Erie, Indiana. You're the Worst. C-Lab 2021. An oft-forgotten gem of early Adult Swim. Also, The Brack Show. Grounded for Life. Halt and Catch Fire. Called the best show no one ever watched. A period. Prestige drama set in the early 1980s to 90s about the birth of the personal computing. Gaming. And internet ages. The first season is not super great. The second is better. But the 3rd and 4th seasons are about as good as TV gets. It's on Netflix in the US if anyone wants to give it a go. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Gallivant. It's a great TV that's like Monty Python meets Broadway and it's so funny but it never got love and barely got a 2nd season. I thought Journeyman was really solid. Apparently I was alone in that opinion. Rectify and Halt and Catch Fire are the 2 incredible dramas I always recommend that people might have missed. Clone High. Lasting 13 episodes. It had a hilarious, but brief, run on MTV in the early 2000s. Crossing my fingers that the rumors of a possible reboot come true. Home Movies. It was popular enough on Adult Swim back in the early 2000s. But it really was more than good enough for a primetime TV slot. Lauren Bouchard. The creator of Bob's Burgers. Made the show with Brendan Small, who then created Metalocalypse. H. John Benjamin got his start on home movies as Coach McGurk. I'm pretty sure it was pure gold. But I guess didn't have the same draw as Family Guy and whatever else was huge at the time. Raising Hope. Black Sails. Love me a good golden age of piracy show. The Finder. Starring Jeff Stultz. Unfortunately it only has one season. The Nick. Really enjoyed it. And just found out they're bringing it back for season 3. Patriot. Fantastic slow-burn dark comedy spy show. Available on Amazon Prime, and a podcast just started to give some ancillary fun. Edit. YouTube. Watch. V equals HW6USOJXCPY. Leverage. Limitless on CBS. Only got one season for such reason, plus CBS wanting to put more room for other stuff. Update. Wow, thanks for the awards and upvotes. Most I've ever gotten. If only the show could continue with this high amount of upvotes. Terra Nova. Why Fox? Why? Legion was one of the most creative shows I've ever seen. But barely anyone knows about it. It lasted 3 good seasons. All of which are very diverse. It might be the best superhero TV show ever. But half the time people think I'm talking about that old Paul Bettany film. Hell on Wheels is a seriously slept-on show. It was on AMC at the same time as Breaking Bad and when The Walking Dead was at its peak, so it got shoved under the rug. Gallivant was one of my favorite shows during its run. It was this light, quirky fantasy musical on network TV. It was a miracle it got to 2 seasons. It felt like Mel Brooks got tabbed to remix Princess Bride and Monty Python. If it came out after Hamilton, the musical hype might have put some more wind in its sails. The Killing. Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency. I am not okay with this. Good vibes. Nice songs. Cool style. Quite good cast. I liked the ending of the first season, but Netflix has just cancelled the whole show. Due to COVID, as they said. Fringe. Forever with Ioan Griffith was pretty decent but got cancelled after its first season. The premise was an immortal man who works as a medical examiner and helps the police solve cases. It's basically a procedural with a bigger arc about his immortality and the consequences of it. And I think it could have gone on nicely for another 2 seasons if it had become more popular. But it just didn't pick up. Also, Psych is great but has a small albeit very devoted following. While the less superior rip-off The Mentalist got way more popular. Lie to Me. I was actually sad it never got the go-ahead for S4 and beyond. Such a great show. Edit. OMG, thank you kind stranger for my first ever award. Edit 2. Holy shit. So much love and even more awards. Thank you kind strangers for the awards. I hope everyone has a blessed holiday. Spaced. Simon Pegg. Nick Frost and Edgar Wright. Created. Co-written and starring Jessica Stevenson. Collaboration before they were cool. Can't believe how few have watched this show. The writing and acting is original and fantastic, but it's the editing and cutaways that make the show phenomenal. Oblongs. It was a part of those string of adult shows that wasn't really raunchy, but it still had its zingers to it. The son not being able to sleep unless he was hearing the sound of his parents' bed squeaking. If it came out today or a few years ago, it would have been more appreciated.